What was one moment that immediately made the quiet kid the most popular kid in school? Story 1. Not the most popular kid in school, and not immediately, but there was this one kid in my 7th grade that was super quiet and didn't really have any friends. He was always eating alone and walking around the schoolyard alone during breaks. One day, our PE class was walking to a community center across the street. It was raining quite badly, and everyone was holding an umbrella. The kid and I were in the front of the group, along with the teacher, waiting at the light to cross the street. As soon as the light changes, the teacher said, "All right, everyone, we're crossing." The kid said, very calmly, but loud enough for everyone to hear him, "No, not yet." While everyone, including myself, was still processing hearing the quiet kid's voice for maybe one of the very rare times, a van sped past us, running the red light and splashing rainwater everywhere. I didn't get wet despite being in the front line, because a quiet kid held out his umbrella as a shield and blocked the rain from hitting us both. Everyone was super impressed, especially me. During class that day, a group of popular kids went to talk to him and invited him to come play badminton with them. Then, slowly throughout the semester, people became friendlier with him and invited him to other stuff. He was still quiet, but had lots of friends. He was very good at sports and drawing. When high school hits, he became super popular with girls and cycled through 5 girlfriends throughout high school. It was interesting to witness that moment when someone shined, and you know that this is the moment that will change their school life forever. I actually see a lot of that, but this stuck with me the most because, to me at that time, when he blocked the rain from splashing me in a super calm manner, he was super cool and was like some superhero. Story 2. This sounds kind of weird and arrogant, but kind of myself. Definitely not the most popular kid, at least. I was super quiet and depressed in freshman year and was bullied relentlessly by a junior. One day, a junior, let's call him Jack, and his friends follow me home from school and try to fight me. I end up breaking his arm in 2 places and shattering his collarbone. His friends got it on video. After a 2-week suspension, I got back and everyone was super nice to me. Always including me. I got invited to parties with seniors and such. The popular kid who beat me up came back later and was excluded by everyone. One day I'm in the locker room after school and find him sitting alone, crying. We talk for a while and I learn his parents are getting a divorce, and he lost his spot on the football team and he's about to fail several classes. On top of that, all of his friends left him, including his girlfriend. Essentially, he told me he had nothing to live for and was planning on ending his life. I sat with him for hours talking. Eventually he went home, and so did I. Every day after that, I'd sit with him at lunch. We hung out occasionally outside of school, and I helped him with a few classes. By his senior year, he's a regular with my original group of nerds and geeks. He also stopped drinking and smoking too, and we'd play Dungeons & Dragons as a group on the weekends. Too long didn't read, beat the crap out of my bully, stopped him from ending his life, became friends, and included him into my group of nerds and geeks. Holy crap, this got way more attention than I thought. Thank you everyone for the gold and silver. I called him today and learned he graduated college second in his class and is going into psychology. Story 3. I'm not quiet anymore, but I still am the least talkative in my group. Group varies, but consists of about 15 people. The reason why is because I prefer smaller crowds and individuals over group settings. I also belong to multiple groups of people on my campus, an art group and a random group, and a few other people are also in both groups. Anyways, we talk about our personal lives and problems, and I try to help people out with advice. People kind of started to get the feeling that I knew a lot and had somehow gained some sort of experience regarding depression and drama that the others in the groups didn't have as much of. They pick this up because of my tone and how I handle their problems, but I actually don't tell them much about my life. Eventually, someone pointed out how they don't really know anything about me, despite how often I may sometimes talk. They pointed out how they don't know anything about my childhood, my personal life outside of school, or even my age. Suddenly, I became the mystery person, and people are trying to dissect me for my personal backstory. They even started making conspiracy theories as a joke, like saying I'm a time traveler or a secret agent. I wouldn't say I'm popular, it's just that there was a sudden spark of interest in my personal life simply because they don't know much about me. They still don't. Story 4. One day, this popular kid punched the quiet kid in the face. He had glasses on, and the glass shards from when his glasses broke as he was punched freaked up his eye pretty bad, to the point he had to go to the hospital. He came back to school the next week, and everyone wanted to be his best friend. Like, people were arguing over who should sit with him at lunch, and who got to partner with him in class. He also got to stay in during playtime, and everyone wanted to be his buddy and stay in with him. It was so weird because until he got punched, everyone else would isolate and tease the freak out of him because he was new and shy. Our class even had to have an assembly about how we need to be kinder to him, but everyone kept teasing him. It was only when this kid punched him that I think we all decided it was too far, and we all felt sorry for him, and we hated the popular kid that did it, to the point where people were now bullying him, calling him Britney Spears, because he was blonde and had a buzz cut. Was weird. He never got teased after that and became part of the group. Story 5. At the end of every year in high school, we had an academic convocation, where the whole school would gather in the auditorium, and there would be awards handed out to students from each grade, such as Most Improved, Best Attendance, etc. Every time they had one of these, they would open the convocation up with something entertaining, like the cheerleaders doing their routine, for example. My friend Jared, who was the quiet metalhead, happened to be in the most insanely talented band our senior year. Somehow they got to open up our senior year's convocation. I was so jealous, but also very proud to watch as the quiet kid was ripping a gut-busting guitar solo in front of the whole school, with everyone, even the teachers, cheering the band on. Story 6. In high school, there was a popular butthole classmate who was blocking the doorway to a science class this quiet girl was trying to get into. Dude was just standing in the doorway talking to a friend there. Quiet girl got so annoyed after he completely ignored her requests to move that she grabbed him by the back of his backpack and pulled him backwards, calling him to fall flat on his butt and shut up. I still remember him staring blankly at her, along with the rest of the class, as she walked in and took her usual seat in the front of the class. She was the only one to ever shut the guy up in all the years that anyone knew him. I think someone even wrote that in her yearbook when we were passing them around during senior year. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video and have a wonderful day. Story 7. Quiet dude in high school in the late 1970s. He was awkward and sort of goofy looking, very tall and lanky. One night at a school dance, he arrived in the most fashionable disco leisure suit and platform shoes that made him, along with his stylish afro, over 7 feet tall. Some popular disco song played, and he stood in the very center of the gymnasium and expertly executed every dance move that John Travolta ever popularized. A circle of amazed high school admirers grew around him, amazed and cheering him on. The song ended, and it was like the parting of the sea when he walked from the center of the dance floor back to the sidelines. Nobody imagined this quiet kid had such hidden talent. Story 8. The quiet, smart kid ran for student government. He had to give a speech during one of those awkward assemblies where a bunch of 12-year-old nerds practice public speaking, but they barely know how to talk into a microphone, and no one makes eye contact, and everyone politely claps, but all the ADHD kids are fidgeting like crazy, and everyone else is falling asleep. But then this kid gets up and absolutely slays. His speech was well-paced, funny, and personal, and he called out specific people in our grade in a playful way. Like, we all know Joe always forgets to bring a pencil to the biology lab. If I'm elected president, I'll have pencils available in every classroom. Instant popularity. Story 9. He went around all sneaking, just being nice to everyone and doing favors, like copying down homework when people were sick, writing notes of encouragement, but we all realized he was the best when he was helping people out with physics homework over AIM, because we had to submit homework through this jerk online system. And everyone realized all at once that they were saying the same thing. Go ask screenname_69 for help. Suddenly, he was everyone's friend, and instead of just passively ignoring him, we all let him into all of our circles. We voted him prom king, and he cried, and everyone was so happy. Story 10. I was that kid in junior year. The school news team filmed students giving their significant others Valentine's Day shoutouts, and me, being perennially single, decided to goof off to entertain my friends. I went on and said, and I quote, "I'd like to wish a happy Valentine's Day to myself, because I'm single, ladies." They got a kick out of it, and when it aired, the news team played it for the whole entire school. complete with remixes and everything. For one day and one day only, I was the most popular kid in school. Even got a few phone numbers out of it. Story 11. Not a kid, but a teacher. My physics teacher is an awkward, shy man who is constantly drinking coffee to stay alert and is quite jittery. Once in a school assembly, we had a basketball competition to lift our spirits, and he volunteered. He was the best of all. He made nearly every shot, and after every shot, he ran back to high-five a friend. Once he slipped on his way back, but in a cool, funny way. He was automatically a hero, and everyone chanted his name. He was very happy, but attempted to hide his smiles by sipping his coffee. Story 12. When he jokes about bombing the school at a pep rally before winter break, so 2/3 of the school didn't show up. I remember my world cultures teacher telling us the day before, "Guys, if you don't show up tomorrow, I will be thoroughly disappointed. This is hysteria," etc., etc. The next morning, the SWAT team arrived and searched his locker. They found several pipe bombs, a 12-gauge shot weapon, and a duffel bag filled with over 200 rounds of live ammunition. Yeah, that was a fun press conference and newsletter. Story 13. We had a kid 16 years old at school who was quiet and on his own. One day, people were working next to the school using big machinery. We were working on a test with a lot of students in silence, when something started drilling for a good 10 seconds. The room was shaking. Everybody was a bit surprised. This kid just says, "Ow, I'm sorry." Everyone, including teachers, bursts into laughter, tears included. Since then, he managed to score some other good puns, and he became the funniest guy in school. Story 14. I always remember a story my dad told me when he was in high school. A quiet boy kept getting bullied by some butthole much bigger than him. Day in, day out, this dude was screwing with this kid. Kid was smaller in size, very quiet, and never bothered anyone. One day, he finally got sick of the bully and knocked him the freak out in one hook, sending him to the hospital. Turns out he was a Golden Glove boxer. Story 15. Kid was a year younger than me and really awkward. I think he was homeschooled almost until the last 4 years. He joined the track team and was an absolute lunatic sprinter. He was crushing people without much effort. Went from socially awkward to being an all-conference sprinter who then got signed to a nice scholarship. Found him on Facebook a couple years ago, and he's married with a nice-looking wife and decent job. Story 16. When the quiet girl lost a lot of weight and was suddenly one of the prettiest girls in the batch. You'd think those only happen in movies. The best part is no stupid shenanigan ensued. She remains to be one of the nicest and prettiest people I know. She's even more popular in college now. Story 17. Weediest, nerdiest, shyest guy at my school was once asked by the dong-head captain of the rugby team in front of the class how he'd feel if he woke up with a 12-inch wiener. And, quick as a flash, he looked up and said, "Well, it'd be easier to sit down," then just went back to his book. Story 18. Quiet, skinny goth kid never bothered anybody. He was getting ruthlessly teased by spoiled, horrible rich kids with a Napoleon complex. Goth kid beats rich kids bloody in the high school hall while silence descended on the crowd. Story 19. He calmly walked towards a dude that was harassing someone and literally out of nowhere punched him so hard in the face he fainted, and he just walked away. No teachers saw it and no one ratted him out. Story 20. He offered to tutor calculus to anyone for $1 an hour. There were as many as 10 of us at his house at one time. To add to that, his mother was gorgeous. Story 21. He asked an incredibly popular but witchy girl to prom. Before she could say no, he booped her in the nose and said, "Just kidding." Story 22. The teacher said, "If you hate the class so much, why don't you leave?" He left. Story 23. Word got out that his older brother would buy us beer. Story 24. First to get boobaloobaloobies. Click on one of the videos you see on the screen now, or a Karen will sue you.